Welcome to Total Fitheads.
Serious fitness for not so serious people.
Hey Max, what are you wearing on your feet?
Whoa, racy.
Double racy because then it was a foot thing.
An FF, a foot fit.
I've been steadily lowering my wiki feet score for the past 3 years, and it's been awesome.
Wow. What
I
is
know.
Wiki Feet?
Oh, let me fill you in. I'm allowed to talk about it because I'm on it, and you cannot add yourself. Other people add you.
Can you
So it's
remove
not like
yourself?
um hadn't thought about that. A cease and desist.
Ugh, I hate this thing. It's the worst. They're just taking advantage. But also, like, what's my score? And like, how do I get higher on there? And how do I get more visibility? And
Visibility. How do I get on the front page? Uh, um,
what is it?
okay. To fill in all the people that don't know, which is definitely not the category you're in. People take screenshots of when you expose your feet in various locations. Say you're at the beach and on Instagram, they'll take that picture of your feet and put
Mm-hmm.
it on WikiFeet, and then whomever browses said website can vote on a score of the feet from 1 to 5 stars. And like 3 years ago, I was 5 stars, and now I don't know, 3.5.
Oof. Gross.
Yeah,
Now,
it's great. I think there was just a comment that was like horrible.
oh, really? So they've actually gotten worse. I have
No,
a
no,
million
this was
questions.
this was a comment on my other like foot. Oh, I have a lot of feet videos. I'm not inviting it. They're not about that. It's almost
Sure.
like, yeah. It's weird because there I don't have another example where you're doing something that is intended to just be the thing, and then there's this group of people that decide it's sexy.
Meteorology
Yeah, that's a good call.
or sideline reporting or what used to be like in the 60s, 50s, 60s was probably flight attendants, medical
Working on those steel
sales,
beams.
pharmaceutical sales, working in the steel. So, did you lower your score because it's like one of those Yelp situations where like a brand new restaurant has 5 stars because they only have 2 ratings and one of them is from
And
the
it was
owner?
on a
Also, what did
boy.
you rate
Yeah.
yourself?
I
How often do you
hadn't
rate
thought
your own
about that.
how often do you rate your own photos? Oh, and so is it a combination of you need a lot of photo entries and then each entry gets a star rating. And so you need a lot of ratings and a lot of photo entries. You see what I'm saying?
You've heard the extent of my knowledge of the WikiFeet
Mm,
algorithm, so I don't
mm.
think I can answer this. But you're trying to figure out how to game the system,
I'm trying to figure out how the system works so I understand what
right?
the
What a truly
when
a
you
rating
say I'm
means.
3.5 stars,
I don't
what is
actually
that
know. I
in?
made that up, but I'm confident that it's lower than it was because traditionally an attractive foot is small and pointed and feminine, and I've spent the past 3 years spreading my feet out to be a cave person.
Right. Well, a monkey paw, I would say.
Yeah, sure. Thanks for.
You're trying for dexterity, not just spreading, right? You want to be able
Well,
to,
yeah, I do the like weird exercise things, but it's not like I'm trying to pick up stuff with my feet. I should probably do that more.
right?
Oh,
You're trying
like
to write.
those
You're trying to write with an ink and a quill. You're trying to do a Rubik's cube.
copying the works of Shakespeare with both my left and right foot.
Copying, improving on,
Yeah, improving, replacing all the nouns with foot.
or toe, or heel, or soul, or
Wherefore art thou foot or
wherefore art thou
soul? Yeah,
soul?
yeah.
Where foots
Are
are. Anyway, yeah, that's. Ugh.
there dudes on WikiFeet? Are you on
I have
it?
no idea. I doubt it. I didn't do a lot of I exposed everything else. I didn't feel the need to expose my feet,
You
I would
had
say.
there are photos of your feet out there. You don't realize it. You don't think about it.
Yeah, there's I think things are easily cataloged. I wonder how hard it is to like do something and then like get it scrubbed off the internet before it spreads. You know, or
After it
block
spreads.
it or before no, after it spreads, it's impossible. Before it
Oh,
spreads, like to catch it right there, that must be a really difficult thing.
huh. I'm gonna
So
start Wiki Ankle, and it's like an old timey website, and we screenshot ankles because it's
nice.
yeah.
Feet is a weird one. There's plenty of other weird ones. There's earlobe is a very erogenous thing for a lot of people.
Really?
For male forearms, I know is a big one.
On some
Um,
guys.
for some
No, I was
people
saying
who are
some guys have
attracted to
big ones.
guys are attracted to certain or think forearms are a big deal. Does that make
Yeah,
sense?
grip strength really is very hot.
Grip strength is. Did we ever figure out if grip strength was um correlated or causated for health and
We did not.
wellness
We just
and
know it is a good
longevity?
proxy.
Yeah. Like yeah, flossing was the other one, right?
Yeah. Well, and we did ask the epigenetic expert and the oral health expert, and we still don't have a
Yeah.
clear answer on that.
Don't have a
I
definitive
guess what
answer.
we could do is stop flossing and start working on our grip strength. And oh wait, no, they would cancel each other out.
Right. So only floss your right half of your teeth.
Yeah.
Only floss your upper teeth, and then only work on
Okay.
your non-dominant hand grip strength.
Mm. I have a serious imbalance. Well, I mean, I have a grip
Mhm. A grip
checker.
balance.
I guess I don't know if it's serious because everyone's in balance, but for sure, right is way stronger, which
You're a
is
righty,
absurd. I
right?
deadlift with both hands, and I don't even I do double overhand. Uh,
Everything you do with your dominant hand contributes, right?
well, I've been using my foot to write, so
How are you working on your grip strength?
oh, don't use chalk now. Don't do thumb grip. I always do hook grip, and I've been trying to at least on my warm up not hook grip as long as possible until it's the limiting factor. Then I'll hook grip.
Don't do thumb do wait, say it again.
Don't do hook grip. Hook grip is when you actually grab your thumb with your fingers and use that to hold on better. So what you would do is just put your thumb over top of your fingers as long as you can until that you can't
You're talking about a
anymore.
deadlift or a pull-up or just
Deadlift.
a deadlift?
Oh, I've never hook gripped a pull up. Have you?
Well, I guess I don't know if you can hook grip a pull-up. Yeah,
I'm
you
sure. Yeah.
can.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Think
I
it's
just
too hard.
hang. I just hang and I try to find something to make it so the bar is not slippery. Our pull-up bar is like it's like made of silk. It's so slippery. It's
Well,
unbelievable.
that
And
would be better for your grip strength.
I
Silk.
mean, kind of, but
Luxurious silk pull up bar.
yeah, it's basically Equinox. But someone, Brittany asked me how to. She was like, "Wow, my grip strength is terrible. I have no idea." I was like, "Well, do you do anything that would exercise your
With
grip?"
your
She was like, "What do you mean? I work out all the time." I'm like, "Do you pick up a dumbbell? Do you pick up a barbell? Do you hang on the pull-up bar? Do you
open a jar of pickles.
open a jar of jam, pickles? Do you use a can opener? Do you just rip open a thing of tuna with your hands?"
You rip a phone book in half. A can of tuna.
Like I do every day.
uh there are also grip trainers.
Yeah, I know.
That's a big thing, especially for climbers.
It's lame.
And Juji Mufu, do you know his stuff? I'm
Yeah, of
obsessed. He has
course.
a whole company, Grip Genie, where it's about improving your grip.
Well, there's also those weird rock climbing things where you like stick your fingers in different piano formations and then just hang there
Yeah,
or whatever.
yeah, I know. That's nutso.
I guess you play the piano, right? That's hand, or I guess that's not
Oh,
strength,
it
that's
feels
more
like dexterity. Oh,
dexterity.
you know what I should do is get
Heavy
heavy
keys.
piano keys.
You could either get heavy keys, or you could play the piano upside down, or you could get little. Oh, I know what you
Oh,
do.
like use
You take
like
a
a
bunch of
handstand while I'm playing? Is that what you're saying?
no, play the piano upside down. Put the piano on your ceiling.
So I'm jumping to hit it?
So you're okay, so you're sitting at a piano, right? That
Yeah.
exact formation, you and the piano, just invert it. So that now
Okay.
your hair is up,
I'm fighting gravity.
falling. You're fighting
That's what
gravity,
you're
so you're
saying.
pushing the
Okay.
keys up instead of
Slightly
down.
more difficult.
Way more heavy, way heavier.
And,
Or
and then we'd have to make lead keys,
you get a bunch of
tungsten keys.
balloons, tie them to your fingers, so to push down.
Oh
It's like a
yeah, okay,
cable
okay.
machine.
Or just tie my fingers to a cable machine.
Or have a bunch of strings on your fingers, and so then when you play, you can just play in the air if your keyboard is in the ceiling, I guess.
Sure. These are all really great. Hold on, let me get
Trying to
my
visualize
notebook and write
this.
it down with my foot.
I know I got to be careful. Everything I throw away suggest you end up doing. How's your Latin studies going, by the way?
Oh yeah, pretty great. I got a good streak going on Duolingo.
Cogito ergo.
Wait, did you actually study Latin?
Cogito ergo sum. No, I did not study Latin, but it is everywhere. As far as I can tell, the only advantage to studying
Where?
Latin is
Reading a
in
coin?
taking the SATs, because for the vocab words, also, I don't know if this is still true, but when I was taking the SATs, the vocab words was the hack to getting really good score on your SATs, because that was where
Oh,
people could make the biggest leap. So if you don't know a word and you study Latin, you can have a pretty good guess at if you know the root word or
yeah.
the whatever.
Okay. I was just watching the spelling bee. It was,
Oh
oh
boy,
my goodness, heart
spellbinding.
racing. Yes.
I like
Yes.
when they ask you to use it in a sentence, and I'm like, I don't know, dude. Did you ever see the kid who like writes it on his hand?
There was one kid that typed it this time. I'm like, wow, we have
Uh-oh.
really
With
evolved.
fingers or
That's
with thumbs?
oh yeah, use a T9. Remember that?
I just found
Uh,
my old phone. It doesn't work anymore. I'm so bummed.
imagine that. It's probably the battery, but I bet the phone might.
The phone does not work
Oh,
anymore. The phone turns on, but it but
that sounds like working to me.
the um the network, the cellular network does not exist anymore that this phone used. Doesn't that suck? I took it to a
Wow.
store. I was like, let's turn this bad boy back on.
Yeah. Wait, you serious about this?
And they were like, yeah, nobody uses this phone, or we don't use this phone anymore. I was like, oh, does anybody? And they're like, no, actually, this like doesn't even have a SIM card. This doesn't have a space for a SIM card. When did you get it? And I was like, 2010, I don't know, 2012. He was like, yeah, this network doesn't exist anymore. Like,
Wow.
5G or LTE or 3G or whatever. This is called the Duma or something. I can't remember. I
So they
mean,
just
no,
took those towers down?
I think that's what they said. I don't know. The long and short of it is it doesn't exist anymore. The
Hmm.
phone network. Like obviously it turns on and the buttons work and whatever, but um
I feel like we could reverse engineer putting a SIM card in it.
I don't know. I don't There's no space for it. I don't know how to. CDMA is the name of the phone network
It was
something.
probably the least cancer causing one we have. It's only getting worse.
Code division multiple access is a channel access method used by various radio communication technologies. So, doesn't work. It's a
Bummer.
shame. Look at
I
this.
mean, yeah, I know.
Like, it's perfect, you know?
That's back when it was cool to be able to swallow your phone. Now the bigger the better.
I think
Yeah.
so. This is my regular phone.
Whoa.
This is,
Oh,
you know what I mean?
yeah, that's crazy.
About the same.
Do you have what size? Do you have the Pro or the Plus or whatever, the
I have
bigger
the
one or the, yeah.
regular size, not the plus, not the.
It
My
looks like
friend
a
just
Plus
got an
compared.
iPhone 13 mini on purpose. I'm
Does
like, what are you
he
doing? He was just
have a
psyched. He was
job
like,
in social media?
no, hates
Yeah,
social media,
damn.
but sends me an Instagram reel every hour of every day. You
Yikes.
know, one of those.
And he doesn't even know what he's sending because it's so tiny. He's like a couple of pixels. I think that's a dog. Here you go,
Maybe he
Max.
maybe he uses a microphone, a microscope.
That'd be funny. A tiny phone and then special glasses for your tiny phone.
The Spy Kids glasses.
Wait, I want to invent that.
Uh these podcasts are devolving into work sessions,
I know.
brainstorm
It's
sessions for your YouTube channel.
okay,
Upside
so I
down
asked you about
piano.
your shoes because I want to know what we were gonna chat about footwear in the gym.
Well, we're in the gym. Well, you're the one who's wearing those toe bean jobs, right? You still wearing
The
those?
spacers?
No, the
I have
toe
spacers on
glove
right now.
socks. Okay.
What?
Why do you have spacers in your why do you have spacers in right now? What are they and what is the goal?
Um, oh, that is the answer you want. I was gonna say because my brain chemistry is really well set up to create habits, and I told myself I would do it for a while, and 2.5 years later,
Great.
it's just what I do.
How's your brain at answering direct questions?
Yeah, okay, so they help realign your toes, supposedly. There's not enough science on this, I guess. The to realign your toes more to a more natural spread that the cave people had.
The cave
I
people.
know,
Of
yeah,
course it's the
you
cave
love
people.
bringing this up, that they died at
Ah, the
20.
cave people. I
The
mean, the
cave
cave people
people,
invented democracy, right? They invented the
probably fair.
harpsichord.
The only reason they
Why do you
died
play
at
the
20 is
piano?
because they didn't discover how to fix acute injuries. And we're really good at acute problems like a disease, or not a disease,
Like
like
disease?
no, not chronic. Our current health system sucks at chronic and
Uh-huh.
is good at acute. And that's why a lifespan is extended.
But
And
the
chronic is
cave
still
people.
screwed.
Should I say cave people? Is
Like
caveman?
an infection. They couldn't handle infections. And we
Right.
we solved that.
Right.
But anyway, their feet were lovely. I would have given them a 5 out of 5 score.
Oh, are they on Wiki Feet? Those cavemen from those
Mm,
Geico commercials?
that's
Or
funny.
the was it Geico? I don't know. The insurance company caveman commercial.
Have
The
you been wearing
old
your Crocs to the gym? Your
I just got
tiny
new
little
I just got new
size 2 Crocs.
Crocs.
Okay.
I did tell
Color?
you that story. Here, let me send you a
Are they
photo
just the
of my feet.
normal cloggy ones? Because Crocs
Yeah,
is a wide range of an offering now.
I had no idea. Now they're suddenly
My mom has church Crocs now, and it doesn't look like she's wearing Crocs to church.
church Crocs.
Really glad we brought up my mom again.
Oh boy. Why are they, what
We
makes
gotta
them
get it every
church
episode.
Crocs?
What's that?
What makes them church Crocs?
Well, they just look like normal shoes that you could wear to church,
So they're white.
or like gray or black. They look like slides.
Oh, they look as though they're formal shoes, not
Yeah. They're Crocs
angelic.
brand made out of the foam, but they look like they're in disguise as normal shoes.
I almost got those because they have a tread on the bottom.
Ooh.
I just got new Crocs.
I'm imagining Crocs dress shoes. How cool would that be? Guys' dress shoes made out of the Crocs material.
They're making sneakers that look like dress shoes now. Athletes love them, and then I mean now everyone loves them because it's cool. It's accepted now.
Well, I
Dress
still want it to
shoes,
look weird.
yeah.
Like the goal for mine would be to, also I'm writing this down.
The
I'm
goal
just
for the
brainstorming
Crocs
this.
is to look kind of weird. That's kind of, you don't want like normal looking Crocs. You want like neon orange, candy striped
Yeah, and
Crocs.
then you stick a little YouTube badge in it that you got at VidCon.
Yeah.
Do you have do you have those?
I think I had a handful of them somewhere and then I threw them away because
So you don't put anything in your Crocs.
when I first got my other Crocs 11 years ago, I put in a Spider-Man face that was a gift. Uh, as like a bead of decoration bead. Then I left them outside. I left my Crocs outside, and they've literally shrunk to the point where I can barely get my front half of my foot in. My heel is over the back of the heel. And they were too big for me. They were one size too
11
big,
years. That's a long time to last and then get small.
maybe 8 years. But yeah, within 6 months of being out in the sun, they shrunk. They halved in size, basically.
Wow.
But I also have seen a lot of big bodybuilder, burly boys wearing Crocs to the gym because
Yeah, you take them out.
and do well, I don't really know why. My guess is because they're not doing anything athletic in a sense of quick movement or jumping or changing planes or anything like that. They're
Changing
just
planes. I haven't changed
standing
planes in years.
they're just standing in front of the tricep or the cable pull down, push down
Yeah.
machine doing tricep push downs and then very, very slowly walking away.
Yeah. Yeah. What was it? Brian Borstein would say that I like to try and stay in parasympathetic in between sets. I'm like, oh wow, we're thinking very hard about this.
I know, it's insane. But so people with those to the gym, but I also feel like that's pretty dangerous. Like you should wear closed-toed shoes to the gym no matter what. I think I've seen people wear flip-flops and those
Sonny Webster will snatch in flip-flops.
it's
It's
so
crazy. And it's
dangerous, so
Olympic
stupid.
level weight.
I
It's so
know,
impressively
ridiculous.
stupid. But not. I think he sells his own flip-flops too.
Well, there
He
you go.
does it for a reason, and it's not just to be sensational on social media.
Sure, sure. It's just a happy coincidence.
Well, they're not flip-flops, they're slides, if that makes a
I like
difference
how
to
you
you.
don't wear the same color shoes. It's just how happens that it's a nice thing for your social media.
Yeah, I'm definitely not doing it for attention.
Definitely not. I've
Well, so
seen,
I'm barefoot in the gym all the time. Are you worried about what, dropping a weight on your foot?
yeah. Have you ever broken a toe?
Yeah, but a shoe's not going to stop that.
Are you sure?
No, I'm
What about
not.
a cable flying in between your toes? What about what
What?
about what about the ability? Honestly, like in an
What are you doing
emergency,
with your feet that there's like cable flip between your toes?
in an emergency, and you have to go from dead stop to quickly moving 10 feet to your left.
I
What would
train
be your
barefoot.
what barefoot?
Ideal.
What if you're on pavement?
Are you saying that if I have the right footwear, I will take off and save myself
I'm
faster?
saying
Are
that
you saying
footwear can
shoes make you
protect your
faster?
I'm saying shoes the right footwear can protect your foot. Yes, that is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm not wearing work boots to the gym in the case that I drop a weight on my
A work
steel-toed
boot would slow
shoe.
you down. That is not the optimize. I mean, let's
How
optimize, right? Why
freaking
don't
nimble are you being in 24-hour fitness? What are you dodging?
how have you ever walking on concrete? Have you ever walked on concrete barefoot versus shoes and which one was better?
What?
Excuse me. Have you ever ran on blacktop or pavement?
Wait, yeah, have you ever sat in a really comfortable home or done an ice bath? Which one's better? Of course, we have all of the comforts of the current
That's not a comfort. And also sitting in an ice
technology
bath
world.
all day is going to kill you, isn't it?
Right. But what I'm saying is we have the comfort options. That's also going to kill you.
It's not comfort, it's safety and ability to do things. Like, what if you're trying to run faster and you can't run that fast because you're barefoot? Don't you think you'd why do we use straps for deadlifting? You know?
I don't.
Why do I use straps for pull-ups? I didn't want my grip strength to be the limiting factor for my pull-ups.
So improve your grip. That's the point.
Is it the
I'm trying
point?
to improve my feet so that the
I
shoes aren't the thing that I rely on.
I would say that's
And
the
I'm
limiting
not the
factor.
fastest person in the world if I recognize that the 0.5% that the shoes would give me would make me the
That's
best
a
in the
low
world.
percentage. I would love to know where you got that number.
Oh, if we're talking about being the best in the world and the top like Olympic people are
Not best in the
competing,
world, best at what your best at maximizing your abilities,
yeah, I want my abilities to be maximized barefoot.
even though that's the limiting factor, and you can improve almost everything else by not being barefoot.
I don't think I could prove everything else.
Really?
You think my deadlift would be better with shoes on?
I think if you take the limiting factor out and you focus on improving, and you don't stop improving what you can improve because of the limiting factor, you'll be in a better position.
You know I wear shoes when I Olympic lift.
Good. That's great. So then why do you say you're barefoot in the gym all the time?
Because deadlifting is an Olympic lifting.
Okay. Oh my
And
God.
sometimes I'll Olympic lift barefoot.
This
But
this
when
this
I
the
go heavy,
specific I love uh,
I'm doing what you suggest, using the footwear when it helps you get past the limiting factor.
good. That's
But
great.
I'm also trying to improve my limit on the foot factor.
Hmm.
You
Even
seem
though that
frustrated.
improvement is so minute that it
It's not minute. The how
barely
weak
noticeably minute.
and in pain I was walking barefoot when I first started is miles away from now when I'm on a barefoot hike.
Uh-huh. So you've given yourself hideously calloused 1-star wiki feet soul skin. Is that right?
No, I mean, I guess it's the visibly, it's not really much the skin. I don't know. It's weird because, oh,
You think
man,
you've
you
killed
see
the
those
nerve in there?
photos of the people in other countries that play soccer barefoot with those ugly, pointy balls that are made of burrs. No, you've not seen that.
Burrs.
Like painful soccer balls barefoot to make your feet tougher.
Okay,
It's not
I'm
that
with you.
level.
I've seen people play soccer barefoot
Okay.
and their feet are
All right. So you're
beat
so
up.
you're totally out on barefoot, is what you're saying.
I'm not totally out on barefoot. I think that, you know, and it's probably my own issue, but when people bring up the caveman logic, I'm like, that's dumb. Got it. You're an idiot. Dumb. You're dumb.
I was only using that
Caveman.
for a visual. I'm not
Dumb.
trying to be a cave person. I'm trying to tell you what
You're
it
not?
looked like. What?
You're not trying to be a cave person? Cave. Also, it's cave lady. Excuse me.
Oh, oh.
It's cave entity.
You're you're gendering the cave.
Yeah, don't misgender the cave. Cave identifies as as a cavern, actually. I don't know. The barefoot fad, I feel like, is it's just so like if I'm wearing flip-flops, there's a limit to what I feel comfortable doing. If I'm wearing flip-flops, I don't think I could suddenly sprint down the street at the same speed as if I could wearing tennis shoes. Or
But how
if I'm
often do
wearing
you need to
tennis
do
shoes, I
that?
wouldn't want to do construction versus wearing, you know, construction
Yeah.
boots or whatever.
I think the problem is that we're all ready to sprint down the street and it's harming our feet because we don't need to be ready for that at all given points.
Why not the caveman were? Cave people.
No, they weren't. They weren't wearing shoes, so they
But they
probably
were
could have
ready to,
performed better.
and if they could have worn shoes, they would have because they were always on alert that they might have to sprint away from
Right. So we're not
something.
anymore. So we shouldn't be doing that.
So we shouldn't be like the cavemen.
No, of course not. And we shouldn't put on
Beautiful.
steel-toed shoes just in case we might drop something on our toes.
Right.
And so you're wearing running shoes
Wait, we
just in
shouldn't wear
case you might
steel.
run
We shouldn't wear steel-toed shoes in case. That's exactly why I
all the
wear steel.
time.
Well, if you're in the
That's what I'm saying.
situation
Don't wear them
where,
all the time because you might drop something. You shouldn't wear running shoes all the time because you might need to run.
right, I wear running shoes to the gym because I
Yeah.
might want to do something athletic. Imagine that.
And so you wear running shoes to the gym, not your Crocs.
Right, I do not wear Crocs to the gym. Although, in fairness, I just got the new Crocs, so I will have to cross. I will have to make that decision.
And you're thinking about it.
No, as much as we've interviewed these people that have these bizarre sort of alternate ideas about fitness and whatever, like I still, on some level, think that slowly walking somewhere is not going to be more athletic than running somewhere. Or, if I go to the gym, it's sort of like it's a multi, I want to be able to do different things. Maybe I do want to get on a bike or something, or a stationary bike, or maybe I do want to do some sort of light plyometric something or other, or even a burpee, God forbid. And a burpee in open-toed shoes is not gonna do you any good. It's just gonna break your toes.
I know, and I haven't done burpees in years.
I
Probably
can't
when we did
believe
that burpee mile.
that burpee mile for me was like, all right, I'm good. I've done.
Enough burpees for the rest of my life.
That's it for
Uh,
me, guys. Thanks a bunch. But I'm still I'm surprised. I mean, do you run? Do you ever run
I'm gonna
anymore?
get back into. I'm gonna start doing zone 2 training for a video. So yeah, I will be. I know
And what are you gonna
it's such
wear
a fad.
on your feet?
I will be wearing barefoot shoes, but I just bought a pair of wide toe box zero drop. So all parts of it, he's zoning out. All parts of it are barefoot except it has padding. And so these are called Flux, and I bought them because I thought Christine would have me walking all over the UK when we went overseas together, and I was very concerned
Hmm.
for my barefoot shoes and my feet holding up. So it was a situation where I knew that technology would help my limiting factor, and so I got a pair. So I
All right, so
might run in those. We'll find out. But I'm
Flux
going to aim
shoes
to.
look like just flat sole
They look like
shoes.
normal running shoes, but they're really wide. So
Okay.
see, I feel like I just turned you off because I said cave person. I shouldn't have set it up that way. What I'm saying is removing the comforts of modern life is sometimes a good answer. But when you
Uh-huh.
have your toe crammed into a point because our fashion industry decided that was beautiful, because back in the day when rich people had horses. To use a horse, you had to have pointy-toed shoes to put your feet into the stirrups. Everyone wanted to seem rich, so everyone wore pointy-toed shoes. That got
Mm.
ingrained in our brains as fashion. And since then, you've been warping your natural foot shape. And I can't for a second allow myself to believe that that's healthier and better for us, and cramming our feet into small shoes is the future, and that cave people were wrong about having wide feet.
So you've been trying to widen or space out your
Just let them
front
be what they
toe
want. Yeah.
area for how long?
I've been wearing toe spacers for, yeah, coming up on 3 years. And you don't need to
Has
wear them that long. This is absurd. It really is. I just made the habit and I kept putting them on
has
anyway.
the have you noticed a change in the shape of your foot?
I think so. I mean, I made a whole video showing because I took a photo of my feet
Yeah.
straight on the sole. By the way, on Wiki Feet, it's like, ooh, I got one. I got a photo of your feet. And for me, it was every month I took a photo of my feet, and you can see them widen out. And they're still, they did not expand the way that I expected over such a long time.
Uh-huh.
Like my toes still kind of curl over, and I think that's natural, what I thought was caused by shoes. So it's more about this way versus this way.
Spreading your toes versus curling your toes
Yeah. But I
or your
also
foot.
was in point shoes, since I was
Yeah.
13. So
So you feel like there's probably been some movement, although it's not like dramatically visible
no.
to the
But it
naked
does
eye.
feel healthier and more stable and
Have you, that's what I'm saying.
I'm
Have you actually noticed feeling, not, have you
my
not,
feet
I'm not
feel
asking if you've
stronger.
noticed the happiness of achieving,
Yeah,
of
yeah.
sticking with a goal, which I know is something that you really get off on. So I want you to
I don't know what you're
separate
talking
that
about.
out.
I'm normal.
Don't talk to me about I'm so satisfied that I've stuck with this habit forever and ever. Have you noticed better balance? Are you able to jump higher? Do your feet feel stronger? Are you able to notice any of that? Have you measured any of that?
I cannot jump higher.
Okay.
This did not help with that. But yes, walking over rocks and navigating in general, I feel better balanced. I do think I mean, in general, as soon as you take your shoes off when you're deadlifting, this isn't like a over the long term dramatic. It's immediately dramatic.
Hmm.
You're better at deadlifting. Like I used to lift in squishy shoes and you don't real and you're rocking because your heel is up. You
Yeah.
don't realize how much more power you can get by letting your feet spread.
Well, I think
Chris Duffin
that's
was all about this. Why didn't you give him crap whenever he was on? He started a whole company,
the
Barefoot, with
squishy shoe.
the
I think
animal
people don't
bear.
realize how squishy running shoes are. That's why people
Yeah,
like Converse shoe or lifting in Converse shoes. That's what we're like
yeah.
flat soled shoes. And I think that the squishiness of the shoe, of the running shoe, is because they think you're going to be running or jumping or cross training or whatever. And so that probably is good for you. And so, yeah, I think people really don't realize how squishy a shoe is until they stand flat on the ground. And then, yeah, pick something heavy up to put that stress on the foot.
Mm. So Michael Brandt, the ketone
Yeah,
IQ guy that we had on, he
the running
runs
man.
marathons and he'll do both. He'll train in barefoot, but when he's doing a timed marathon, we'll be in super squishy Hoka situation.
Yeah, I wonder if they're springy as in addition to squishy.
Well, there are illegal ones too. The vapor flies, they
Yeah.
got banned. I wanted to try those too.
They didn't get did they get discontinued or they just get banned from
N
competition?
n no, they're still making them, but your score doesn't count if you use them in
Right.
something official.
Did you ever have those the pumps?
Yeah, in the 80s.
Yeah, I think it was 80s. Might have
You
been
think that was a
90s.
thing or was it a gimmick?
I think it was a gimmick, but I think it also spoke to how ill-fitting a shoe can be, and we just don't know it because A, we're sort of buying them off the rack and they have to make the shoe for the masses, and B, um, so our starting point is kind of crappy, and they can tailor a shoe specifically for your foot. So the range at which we sort of fall in the middle of our shoe is kind of crappy anyway because it's not that specific, and how specific a shoe can get. Um, I bet
Did you
that's a
see when
big.
I made my own silicone putty and made a barefoot shoe? It's molded to my foot.
No, how'd it go?
I mean, they look like I made my own silicone putty and made a barefoot shoe molded to my foot. I should wear
Yeah.
them to the next red carpet with you.
Oh God. Blow my brains
But
out.
wait, my hockey skates are pump. I think they still use them for that specific
Oh,
reason. To because with hockey skates, you want no movement,
you want
right?
tight? Yeah. Well,
Yeah. Figure skates too, but
you're
I've
running
not
on
seen it.
knives. I mean, it's the most dangerous sport
Running
there
on
is.
knives. Keep them tight.
What is that? What is that?
There's a quote about it.
Uh, the best way to describe hockey is They play their sport on the hardest surface in the wheel with knives on the bottom of their feet. Hockey. I thought I was a terrible ice skater. I say this, and we went ice skating a while ago, and I was like the most spectacular s- hot ice skater, and
Yeah.
everyone was like amazed at how good I was. But it just turns out that I grew up in New England, and the rest of them grew up in Southern California, and so
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a good ice skater. It turns out I'm just superior to everyone in
Just small pond, Mr. Big
South
Fish.
California, Southern California, South LA, whatever.
Yeah. Can we improve on the
Is are ice
ice skating?
skates? Do you think ice skates are are the most specific sport footwear more than cleats?
I mean, you can't get much weirder than that, you know? What
Cleats
other,
are interesting to
yeah.
me. Did you ever play a cleated sport?
Oh,
Have you ever run in cleats?
what are the real, yeah, the running cleats that are real, like spikes.
So there's a couple of
I
different
like
kinds, and
metal
there's a couple
spikes.
of kinds where they can unscrew. They literally have screws in the bottom of the shoe, and so they can unscrew and screw in different sized or different types of cleat depending on the surface they're
Yeah.
using. And a lot of times, famously, NFL players, NFL will do this a lot, and the team will like play the first half, and then in the second half, they'll come out and be like, "Wow, they're moving great. They must have like really got some, Gatorade or whatever at halftime." It's because they all
Right.
changed their cleats and they've realized, okay, this is like way more or less muddy than we thought it was, or the ground is too squishy. I need to use this type of cleat. And so it does really play a huge difference. What
Wow.
scares me about cleats though is that have you ever run around in cleats? Have you ever played soccer or anything like
When
that?
I was yet really young, I imagine they're kind of weapons on
Yeah.
your feet.
So there are two you were probably too young. Once you're like athletic enough where you can generate some power running around, then it makes a huge difference. And I remember playing in flats in flat sneakers while everyone else was playing in cleats, and I literally like would just try to take a turn and just
Shoot.
fall.
Yeah.
And so cleats really play a huge difference in that, and they're really fun to play in. But there is a point where, and I sort of thought about this once I started watching too much, I guess, NFL football, is that if you plant your knee would want to turn a certain way, but because your foot is
Oh,
planted, all of a sudden your knee gets shredded just because you took a turn too hard or whatever. So then that really freaked me out.
yeah.
But yeah, it makes a huge, huge difference, and it's fun to play around with. But I guess I also kind of scared myself. I scared myself straight, kind.
Right. Yeah, Cliff Harsky always puts photos of athletes where they're in these weird positions where they're just being athletic, right? And he's like,
Yeah.
look at the knee compared to the foot to the hip, then this crazy
Oh,
position,
it's
and oh, you're
crazy.
training in perfect parallel squats, and then you make fun of me for changing planes. This is
Yeah.
why I change planes.
I mean, and
Yeah.
and and they're doing like they're throwing a ball like leaning all almost parallel to the ground, like on one toe here. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's
Yeah, yeah.
pretty crazy.
Well, we're talking footwear. What about handwear? Because when I learned that the wide receivers are using, I don't even know if that's the right term for
It
the.
sure is. You got it.
Okay, good. Thank you. They're using sticky gloves, and they're pretty darn
Extremely,
sticky, right?
extremely sticky.
Is
Like
there a limit to the level of stick?
there is, and there was also an illegal substance called stickum that looked like glue, like rubber cement, and they would smear it on their hands. And sometimes they'd smear it on their shirts, and so the ball would like get caught on their shirt. And then they were like, "All right, we got to make that illegal. That's really stupid." But yeah, if you ever get a chance, play around with football receiver gloves. It's super fun. You like catch stuff on like the tips of your fingertips basically, and it really sticks to the
Wow.
batting gloves. That's why I used to wear batting gloves to work out in because they were thin and they had a really
Really?
good grip.
What? You would wear them to the gym?
instead of fingerless lifting gloves like a hobo, I would wear batting gloves like a
Wow,
batsman.
cool. Like a batsman. So batting gloves are what? Because you want less friction when you're
You want to hold on to the bat more.
okay.
You don't want the bat to squick around or slide around in your hands. And also, as you're swinging it, you don't want it to slide out of your hands, God forbid, and murder someone in the stands or whatever.
Yeah. You ever seen someone swing a bat and let go and it spins around and they grab it again?
Yes, and
It's so freaking cool.
it looks like an optical illusion. It looks like
Yeah.
one of those. Have you ever seen those? It looks like it's water dripping, but it goes so funny that it looks like the water is like dripping up. Have you
Like,
seen one of those?
no. Oh,
It's
because
just
it's a
like
strobe light.
yeah, it's like a shaking
Yeah.
thing or something.
Pretty cool. I know.
We
Bat
used
tricks is on my list. After I get
wrestling
a back
shoes were
lever, maybe.
what's that?
Bat tricks is on my list after I get a back lever, maybe.
Bat Tricks is pretty cool. Uh, the Yellow Bananas, I believe, is a baseball team, and they
Savannah
do a lot of
Bananas.
Savannah Bananas, and they do a lot of bat
I
tricks.
know.
There was a
Bat
guy,
tricks.
there was a Vine guy who did bat tricks, and his stuff was unbelievable. He'd swing, drop it, catch it again.
Yeah.
He'd like bounce it off the ground and catch it here, or
Hmm.
he'd swing here and catch it around his neck. I'm like, that's a bat, dude. That's so dangerous. Just get some nunchucks like a normal guy.
I feel like that's on your list.
It
Secret
was for a
secret
minute,
list.
and then I whacked myself in the head, and I was like, "You're right. That was dumb. I shouldn't have
Back to
done that."
Amazon.
Yeah. Adios, my guy. I'll keep the gloves though, but send the bat back.
Your nunchuck gloves. Okay, so
Rest
sports specific makes sense. You're trying to
Wrestling
be the best at
shoes,
your
we would
sport
have
shoes.
we would have tread on the bottom, and then the tread would like go around the all the way over the top of the
Oh
shoe.
wow.
It was
Yeah, because
pretty
you're on your
fun.
toes so much.
And it would go on the sides of the shoe too, because you're in like these weird, I mean, you talk about like in a weird angular plane or whatever, like
Yeah, yikes.
you're like there were moves where basically I'm running along the ground generating force laterally, but it looks like but I'm my physical exertion is as if I was like climbing a ladder or something. Does that make sense?
Maybe. So
So
the
I'm
guy you're
climbing a
fighting is the
ladder, so
ladder.
that's what I'm trying to do, but my chest is
Uh,
facing the ground, so I'm climbing
yeah.
it that way. And so yeah, I was the shoes were always super weird. Although what was funny was I remember getting one pair of shoes and in the bottom of the shoe, there's tread on the heel and then there's tread on the ball of the foot, and there was nothing in between. And then they came out with a new shoe that was just one giant piece of tread, and I was like, "Oh, that's cool. Solved that problem. We don't have to think about it anymore." And then I realized, like after a while, the heel tread wore down and the ball of the foot tread wore down, and nothing in the middle wore down because I literally didn't need it, and it was just a total
Yeah.
gimmick, and I fell for it. And I was
Wow.
like, ah. I fell for it. Oh well, what are you gonna do?
I just thought of something more sports specific shoe. Not the hockey skate, not the figure skate, the speed skate where they
Oh,
invented the clap skate. We've definitely talked about this. I feel like I bring it up a lot. The one year they invented the clap skate, everyone broke all of the records in the Olympics. The first guy that got to go got to hold the record. The second guy that got to go
yep.
got to hold the record.
I'm a
So
world
this
record holder for an hour.
if you're not familiar with a clap skate, it is a speed skate, but the heel would release so that you could leave the skate on the ice for a fraction of a second longer while your heel came up, and then it would clap back to a normal skate position, a normal blade position, and then once again put your foot down. Blade
Blade.
stays on the ice slightly longer, and that was enough to just destroy world records when they allowed it.
Well, and also
That
they were getting
invention.
real close, and then at that level, like you're talking about earlier, like that margin for improvement at that level is insane. Like these
Yeah,
Olympians are like those swimmers when they started wearing those buoyant bodysuits.
right. Those were banned though, then, right? Yeah.
I think so.
Or they had tracks that let the water go
beat up.
through with
Yeah.
less, yeah, with less friction.
Swimming. What a funny swimming. What a funny
But see,
little.
there is the problem. We make these arbitrary things where it's like, okay, you can wear cleats, but what if we played football with no cleats? That's a different skill. Just like powerlifting, they have different types of powerlifting, and it's fully equipped and it's raw and it's
Right.
me barefoot with no straps even.
On
There are so many.
steroids, off steroids.
Yeah, we should do that. I mean, they're talking about it, right? Wasn't there somebody trying to make a
They
steroid
did.
Olympics or
They
something? Oh, they
made
did
it.
it
And
already.
their number one thing was trying to not be thought of as the steroid Olympics because they were like, there's no way we can market that. And I'm like, why not? You just did
Yeah,
it. I'm in. I
I'm
couldn't
in.
be
You
more in.
you have a hard demo, and we are all about it.
I'm so, so in.
What streaming service do I need to sign up for the steroid Olympics, please?
It's obviously ESPN 8. Have you seen slap fighting? Slapping?
Oh my.
I think that is to me the dumbest that we've got so far. That is
You
dumber
think?
than lip sync karaoke.
But that's just because you're used to boxing. If you were used to slapping and then someone brought up boxing, you'd be like, that's crazy. You just
At least
knock a guy,
boxing, there's some
some
semblance
sort of
of creativity,
defense. You love
strategy,
defense.
movement, gameplay. There's no gameplay here. It's how how much fluid do you have in your cranium here so that your brain doesn't hit the wall? Otherwise,
Whoa.
that's
Yeah,
it.
that's terrifying. Well, you could play with strategy. You could be the one guy that dodges.
You can't dodge. You're not allowed to.
Yeah, but you're gonna. I would. Like,
He's
I just
broken the
won.
sport wide
He's done
open.
it. He figured out dodging. Is it
There
really a
was,
sport? They call it a sport?
oh, I'm sure.
I thought it was just Logan Paul hitting people.
There was one there was a Greco-Roman wrestler who entered a sumo contest and he like used wrestling principles and just dominated the sumo. And everyone was like, you need to leave. You're this is the worst.
Yeah,
It
isn't that the
was
idea behind MMA? It's like choose the best one and
it's like just go, dude. Just go for
just
it.
just go. I brought a knife. She broken the sport wide open.
Oopsies.
And she died because she got knifed her somehow.
It looks like you brought a gun to a slap fight.
What sport could we equip better? Would shoes in MMA work better? Can you can you
Um,
improve?
they used to allow wrestling shoes. They used to allow like a gi. Do you remember? It was like wild in the early days of UFC. It was just like there were no weight
Oh,
classes. Some guys were wearing a gi. Some guys were wearing wrestling shoes. Some guys were wearing like knee pads. There was a giant. I think one of the first fights everywhere was a French kickboxer, skinny guy against a literal gigantor sumo guy. And have you seen that?
I
Have you
have
ever seen
not.
that?
Sounds like the good old days.
It is horrifying. I can spoil it for you, but it is like I think it's called like
I can't imagine
first
who won.
MMA fight.
It makes me want to click.
Yeah. I don't know if he was a sumo, but he was a huge guy. And then the guys who would win the yep, there it is. First UFC fight ever. Gerard
Wow.
Gordeau versus Tila Tuli. And it's a big, big, heavy guy. And then it's a very tall, thin guy. And you're like, how are you guys in the same? All right. And it is a 16-second fight. And I highly recommend you. I don't know. It's a weird one.
Yeah.
It's a real weird one. Ugh,
Wow.
I just watched it. It's awful. It's awful.
No,
Oof.
now I don't want to watch it. I feel ugh.
It's also like on a VHS
16
tape.
second fight.
Yeah.
And then from there, MMA didn't just get stopped immediately. It became a whole giant thing, huge business.
Yeah, it became a master. They used to do it
Absurd.
in boxing rings too. That was the other weird thing, is that they would sort of like against a cage makes sense because it's kind of how you have to do it. And then against the the ropes on the edge, they'd be like wrestling, and then a guy would be like sort of falling out into the crowd, and then he'd like
Yeah.
drag him back in. And yeah, it was wild. Thank God I never
Yikes.
did that.
I mean, hockey skates would help in MMA.
Would they? Are they MMAing on ice?
We're gonna be rich. Let's go. Add that to ESPN 8.
Write it down.
All right. This has been a good one. Thanks everyone on the new channel for watching and all of the OGs on audio. If you can rate and review on Apple Podcasts, that helps us out a whole lot. And we'll see you next week.